Ever since seeing Frankenstein meets the Wolfman as a child, I've always been fascinated with media crossovers. Universal created tons of these, including House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and who could forget the Abbott and Costello movies where they made Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Invisible Man, and many others. Japan would also get on this craze with King Kong vs. Godzilla in the early 60s. Comic books also do this all the time. Books like Crisis on Infinite Earths or The Infinity Gauntlet feature heroes from every series teaming up to fight a villain of near godlike power. Sadly, the one area of pop culture that didn't seem to embrace this genre was video games. There are a few examples, like the Kingdom Hearts series. This action RPG series combines characters from Final Fantasy universes with the Disney cartoon characters. And, of course, there's the Super Smash Bros. Series. What started off as a fighting game between various Nintendo properties like Mario, Legend of Zelda, and Donkey Kong has expanded to include characters from many other companies. Sega, Namco, Capcom, Konami all jumped into the fray, bringing characters like Pac-Man, Sonic the Hedgehog, Ryu from Street Fighter, and Solid Snake from Metal Gear together into a single game. But the true trailblazer of this genre in video games was Konami in the late 1980s. Sadly, Konami kept this wonderful genre locked away in Japan. The series is called Konami Wai Wai World, with 2 entries of the series on the Famicom and one on the Game Boy Advance titled Konami Wai Wai Racing Advance, renamed Konami Crazy Racers in North America. The first 2 entries are side-scrolling action platformers released on the Nintendo Famicom, the Japanese version of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Konami would mash up characters and levels of both original Konami properties and licensed movie characters. I'm just going to look at the first game, Konami Wai Wai World, today. This was released in Japan only in January of 1988 for the Nintendo Famicom. Now, the term Wai Wai is a Japanese onomatopoeia for the sound of a loud, crowded area. The game is a side-scrolling platformer that features a single-player mode or 2-player simultaneous play, similar to the 2-player mode found in Contra. The plot is quite basic. An evil alien force has infiltrated the Konami world. Teaming up with other Konami villains, they've defeated and imprisoned all the heroes. Now, the only remaining hero is Konami Man, who must rescue the others and stop the alien invasion. You'll begin the game at your home base, which acts as a hub world. You'll have 2 characters available, and you can change characters on the fly by pressing up and A. Unlocked from the beginning is Konami Man, who had a cameo in the Goonies 2 for NES, and his android partner Konami Lady, created specifically for this game. Each character has their own attributes and attacks. Konami Man has a punch with a very short range but is incredibly fast, and Konami Lady can kick, which has a longer range but is slightly slower. Each of them can eventually acquire a secondary weapon and a power-up that allows them to fly. From the base, there are 3 doors behind you. The leftmost door takes you to the lab of Dr. Cinnamon from the TwinBee series. Here, you can check the status of your characters, heal up, and revive dead characters, as well as get a password to continue your adventure later. The middle door leads to a level select menu. You can choose from 6 stages and play them in any order, although some stages will require you to have certain characters unlocked or a particular ability to complete, so you might have to backtrack. A little more on that later. The final door is initially locked and won't unlock until you complete all 6 initial stages. This door leads to the final 2 levels of the game. Once you're ready to go, pick a level and Pentaro from the Parodius series will teleport you to that world. That teleportation looks incredibly painful, and Pentaro seems very happy and content watching you scream in pain as you dematerialize. Each stage is themed around a particular Konami game or series. The goal of each stage is to find the key so that you can rescue the video game hero, and some stages also require you to defeat a boss. Once you rescue the character, you can select and play as that character on the fly. Each character has a unique attack, special weapon, and skills that you'll need to complete the game. There's a Castlevania stage that takes place in Dracula's castle. Here you'll rescue Simon Belmont. Actually, the manual lists him as Simon Belmont III, which is weird since all the other characters are originals from their respective series. Simon has his vampire killer whip, and his special weapon is the Cross of Fear. There's a medieval Japan stage. Here you'll find Goemon from the Legend of the Mystical Ninja series, also known as the Gambari Goemon series in Japan. Goemon attacks with his pipe and has a special attack to throw coins. You also have Mikey from the Goonies and Goonies 2 on NES. You'll find him in the Caverns stage. He can kick enemies or shoot rocks with a slingshot. He also is the smallest character and can pass through areas that the other characters are too tall to get through. From the Gradius series and the Japanese-only game Moai-Kun, you have Moai-Kun. He's a sentient Moai statue. He can headbutt enemies and also shoot the energy rings, which always end up killing me when I play the Gradius games. He's the tankiest character and he can take tons of damage before dying, but he's also the slowest character and has the largest hitbox. They'll also be joined by King Kong himself, and you'll find him on the Empire State Building. Kong appeared in the Japanese-only game King Kong 2 Ikari no Megaton Punch, a game based off of the 1986 US King Kong 2 movie. Kong can punch, throw boulders, and can jump higher than other characters to reach areas others can't. Kong and Moai-Kun have the most powerful attacks in the game as well. Finally, there's Fuma from Getsu Fuuma Den series, again released only in Japan. In that game, Fuma fights demons in hell to avenge his dead brothers. I'm guessing Nintendo of America read the description of that game and told Konami, no way you're releasing that in the United States. Fuma attacks with a katana, which can destroy walls and blocks that block the path that other party members can't get through. As you enter a stage, you'll see a teleporter. You can use this to return to the hub world. There's also a secret teleporter near the end of the stage, so if you can find it, you don't have to backtrack after rescuing the hero. The stage layout reminds me a lot of Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, with multiple paths to explore. For instance, once you enter Dracula's castle, you can go to the clock tower and Dracula's chamber, or explore the underground. The layout isn't very complicated, so it isn't very likely that you'll get lost. If you find the captured hero before getting the key, you'll have to backtrack and search for it. Some keys are guarded by bosses, and others are just laying around somewhere in the level. Placed in the stages are also sub-weapons for that level's hero, as well as power-ups for Konami Man and Lady. Sometimes you won't be able to get them just yet, like this gun for Konami Lady under Dracula's castle. You'll need a certain character or item to get it, so you'll need to revisit the level later. This level design encourages you to explore the level instead of just rushing to the boss, and you'll be coming back to levels when you have more abilities. I like this, it gives the game more of an adventurous feel. Along the way, you'll encounter many enemies. Each stage contains enemies respective to the stages of their origin game. Sometimes enemy will drop hearts, which refill your life bar of the currently active character. If one of your other characters was injured, you'll need to switch to them in order to benefit from the healing item. Enemies will also drop bullets. These act as ammunition for the special weapons, and also as currency. This is one thing that frustrated me a little bit. When a character dies, they'll remain dead until you revive them back at your base. But it costs 100 bullets to revive them. If every character dies, only Konami Man will be revived for free. You'll have to pay for everyone else. And if you don't have enough bullets, you'll be farming enemies throughout the levels to get enough before continuing. The nice thing is that if you die, all your progress, including the items, heroes, bullets you've acquired, stay with you. There is a password feature. The only issue I had with it is that the password is 14 characters long, which doesn't seem that long, but the characters are Japanese hiragana, which has 46 different symbols that you have to scroll through. After a couple of play sessions, I switched to my EverDrive and just created a save state when I was ready to save due to how long it took to enter a password again. For some strange reason, pressing up A, B, and start at the same time makes your characters commit suicide. This game is what I would call NES hard. Enemy placement, boss patterns, difficult platforming all contribute to a very challenging game. It's not unfair, but it will require some skill and practice. I died completely at least once in every stage. A few of the stages have bosses like the giant Toad and Dracula in the Castlevania stage, or a giant Mecha Kong that you'll have to battle to free King Kong. Unlike other Konami games, there is no knockback, which is great when a bat or Medusa head hits you while you're mid-jump. But that means that if you stand in place too long, enemies can drain your health very quickly. Also, your character walks a little too close to the edge of the screen. I had to walk and stop a lot to avoid just walking into enemies entering the screen in front of me. Konami should have been able to place the controlling character closer to the center of the screen, like most of the other games they've made. Once you've completed all 6 stages, you can enter the 3rd door at the base and begin the final 2 stages. Here, you'll pick one of 2 ships to pilot. You can either pick the Vic Viper from Gradius and Life Force, or TwinBee from the TwinBee series. If you're playing 2-player, each player has to pick a different ship. The next stage is a vertically scrolling shooter. Part 1 of the stage is themed like TwinBee, all cute and colorful, but deadly. Part 2 is like Life Force. You'll fly through asteroids and take on a giant space alien monster that is the enemy base. If you pick Vic Viper, you'll power up your ship like Gradius. Certain enemies drop power-ups, and you'll pick them up until the power-up bar highlights the power-up you want to select. You can get speed-ups, missiles, double shot, laser, options, and a shield just like Gradius. If you pick TwinBee, you'll have to shoot the bells until the color of the power-up you want shows up. Once you blow up the alien, you'll land on the alien base, and it's the final level ahead of you. This level looks a lot like the alien base in Contra. At least I thought it did when I played through it. Unlike the other levels, this level is very linear. Just make it to the alien queen and destroy her. But that's not the end. You'll have to escape the base before the self-destruct timer runs out, just like Metroid. Wait, that's not a Konami game. Once you escape, sit back and enjoy the ending. The graphics are really good for an NES game. Very colorful, and the characters look very similar to their sprites in their respective series, but the sprites have been redrawn to match the aesthetic of this game a little bit better. Each stage and the enemies contained in it look very much like the games they originated from. If you're a fan of these various Konami franchises, you'll find tons of little Easter eggs and cameos throughout the game. As for the music, each character has a theme song that plays when you select that character. Konami Man and Lady have their own themes as well. It does feel a little strange that the music wasn't tied to the level, but to the characters themselves, and when you switch characters, the music will abruptly change. Overall, I found this game very fun. I love the crossovers and all the little Easter eggs along the way. Beating this game was not easy, especially the final few levels, but finishing it, a challenging game like this, made me feel a sense of accomplishment when it was all over. This is definitely a game I'll be enjoying coming back to in the future. Learning of this game was actually what got me into collecting Famicom games, and I'm happy to say that this game met and surpassed my expectations. If you're looking to pick up a copy of this game, it currently runs between $20 and $30 US, and you'll need either a Famicom console or an adapter for your NES. You can also emulate this game and play it on a computer, or play a ROM off of a device like an EverDrive. ROMhacking.net does have a completed translation of this game if you're not comfortable navigating the Japanese language menus. But if you play the original Japanese version, you're not missing very much. If you love classic Konami or any of these series, I highly recommend playing this game however you can. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.